Trump administration officials accidentally texted military plans to a journalist. That's where we're starting the 7 from the Washington Post. I'm Hannah Jewell. It's Tuesday, March 25th. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. Jeffrey Goldberg is the top editor of The Atlantic, so he was pretty surprised to see he had been added to a group chat with what appeared to be top members of the president's national security team. The chat was on the messaging app Signal. That app is encrypted, but it's not classified, and it's not where sensitive government discussions are supposed to take place. So at first, Goldberg thought it might be a hoax. The group appeared to include Vice President J.D. Vance, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. They were discussing the details of a March 15th military operation targeting Houthi militants in Yemen. Yesterday, Goldberg spoke to CNN about the moment he realized the chat could be legitimate.
I'm sitting in a Safeway parking lot watching my phone, realizing, oh my God, this might be real. I think Pete Hegseth just sent this group actual targeting information, actual sequencing of an attack.
The White House confirmed yesterday that the chat was real and that the Atlantic editor was inadvertently included. But Hegseth sought to downplay the incident. Here's how he answered a reporter's question yesterday.
Why were those details shared on Signal, and how did you learn that a journalist was privy to the targets, the types of weapons used?
I've heard I was characterized. Nobody was texting war plans, and that's all I have to say about that. Thank you. I appreciate it.
The breach has drawn heavy criticism from Democrats and Washington's national security establishment. Law firms are refusing to represent President Trump's opponents in the wake of his attacks. That's number 2. Since he returned to office in January, Trump has used executive orders to target powerful law firms that have challenged him. These orders have sought to strip the law firms of their business by banning their lawyers from government buildings and barring companies with federal contracts from employing the firms. That appears to be having a ripple effect. Biden-era officials say they're having trouble finding lawyers willing to defend them, and the volunteers and small nonprofits leading the legal resistance to Trump actions say the well-resourced law firms that once would have backed them are now steering clear. Experts say the result is an extraordinary threat to the fundamental constitutional rights of due process and legal representation, and they say it weakens the efforts to challenge Trump's actions in court. Number 3. A Columbia University student protester sued to prevent her deportation. 21-year-old Yunseo Chung is a legal permanent resident who came to the U.S. from South Korea when she was 7. She participated in student protests against Israel's war in Gaza last year and in further demonstrations at Columbia this month. And now her lawyers say immigration authorities have told her that her permanent legal status is being revoked. Chung's lawsuit alleges that the grounds for her attempted deportation are unlawful, suppressing her First Amendment rights to free speech. It comes as Columbia announced last week that it would comply with sweeping demands from the Trump administration. With $400 million in federal funding on the line, Columbia has agreed to new rules on student protests and discipline, and to an overhaul of the university's Middle Eastern, South Asian, and African Studies departments. Columbia's concessions have fueled fears at universities nationwide about the future of academic freedom. Number 4. An Oscar-winning director was allegedly attacked by Israeli settlers in the West Bank. Hamdan Ballal is the Palestinian co-director of No Other Land. Just a few weeks ago, his film won the Academy Award for Best Documentary. Yesterday, Ballal was attacked by a group of Israeli settlers in his village of Susia. That's according to American activists in the area and a neighbor who spoke to the Post. Ballal was then arrested by the Israeli army. Video of the incident taken by the American activists shows dozens of masked settlers attacking property and Palestinian residents of the village and throwing rocks at the activists' car.
What? Back to the car, back to the car. Back to the car.
Get in the car, get in the car.
No Other Land was the highest grossing of all the Oscar-nominated documentaries, but it still doesn't have a U.S. distributor. Significant wildfires are burning in parts of the East Coast. That's our fifth story. Wildfires are burning from South Florida through the Carolinas and into New Jersey. They're being fueled by drier-than-normal conditions. The most critical fires are burning in North Carolina's Polk County. 3 large, uncontrolled wildfires are driving evacuations. The same region was ravaged by the remnants of Hurricane Helene in the fall, and now debris from that storm is fueling the fire threat there and in neighboring South Carolina. If you're impacted by these fires, we have a useful story in our newsletter today about how to make a homemade air purifier. Find a link to the newsletter in our show notes. Number 6. You should consider deleting your DNA from 23andMe. 23andMe is a genetic information company best known for its saliva test kits. On Sunday, it announced that it is headed to bankruptcy court to sell its assets. Its financial distress prompted California's Attorney General to issue an unusual privacy consumer alert last week. The company said there will be no changes to the way it protects consumer data while in bankruptcy court. But unless you take action, there is a risk your genetic information could end up in someone else's hands. To delete your data, log in to your 23andMe account. Go to your profile, then tap Settings. Scroll to the 23andMe data section at the bottom of the page and click View. Download your data if you want to keep it. Then scroll to the Delete Data section and click Permanently Delete Data. It might just be the smartest decision you make today. And at number 7, what you eat in your 40s, 50s, and 60s may affect how healthy you are at age 70. Yesterday, researchers published a study which followed the eating habits of more than 100,000 middle-aged adults over the course of 30 years. It found that adults who stick to diets rich in plant-based foods and eat fewer ultra-processed foods in the middle decades of their lives have a higher likelihood of reaching 70 free of major chronic diseases. Diets that were higher in trans fats, sodium, sugary drinks, and red or processed meat were linked with a lower likelihood of healthy aging, and the picture was worse for those who consumed the most ultra-processed foods. But whether you're 17 or 70, it's never too late to start some healthy eating habits. All right, you're all caught up. If you're curious about strategies to improve your focus, the latest episode from the Try This podcast is out today. It's all about how to break free from compulsive digital habits. A new episode of Try This is released every Tuesday. But if you're a subscriber to the post, you can get early access to the whole season by linking your subscription to Apple Podcasts. I'm Hannah Jewell. I'll meet you back here tomorrow.